If you're an agency looking to boost your competitive advantage and your customer experience with a powerful platform supporting your every move, Console Cloud might be just the solution for you. So let's take a look at some of the latest features for Console Commercial. While we're demonstrating what is currently available, let's first take a look at where we're heading. This landing page is what we're heading toward, and we're about 50% built so far and growing quickly. Utilizing this landing page gives you the ability to manage all of your commercial portfolio within this one screen. So let's take a look at how that appears today. Here you can see all of your properties and buildings and utilize the filters to see a list of upcoming rent reviews, insurance and compliance due for expiry. This information is driven from the tenancy agreement, which we'll see soon. From here, you can also bulk communicate to your tenants. This communication is kept against the tenant timeline as audit history, should you ever need to refer back to past communications sent. Let's take a look now at tenancy agreements and managing the financials. Depending on your office, you may work through recovery of actuals, or you may be based on budgets. The recovery of actuals can be managed through the bills screen, where on-charging of actuals can occur. Using this tool, you have the ability to add bills in advance, then create payments at a later point in time. This tool relates specifically to on-charging bills to recover actuals. The available balance is at an ownership level and not property level. By entering a due date, you can prioritize bills based off the due date entered. As an example, if entered in bulk for an owner who has multiple properties, it would then pay in bulk based on the oldest due date first and leave any residual funds of whatever's left of the newest invoice. Alternatively, you can enter bills as individual invoices and select Pay at the bottom of the screen. When entering bills, you can drag and drop up to 100 files where Cloud will then pre-fill the data for you. The more you use this tool, the smarter it gets. You'll notice an on-charge option at the bottom of the screen. You can on-charge each bill as they come in, or alternatively, if you've created a bill but it hasn't been on-charged, you can select the ellipsis tool and on-charge from there, rather than using it from the bill workflow. You can then create multiple line items for the tenants. You can also redact information off a bill if on-charging to a tenant. Your input will then be remembered for the next time you use it. Let's now take a look at recoverables based on budgets. This is managed through our recurring outgoings. Budgets is still something that's currently being worked on to a larger scale of capabilities. However, if your agency bases their recoverable on budgets, you can add recurring monthly outgoings that have been budgeted and recurring on a monthly basis. You can have one or multiple line items based on the dissection within the tenancy agreement. The periods that display on the line items can be applied to the same period as the rent when combining it with the rent invoice. Or you can leave this unticked and set it to a separate payment period and a separate invoice. Within the tenancy agreement, you'll see a list of new options. You can add tenant insurance within the tenancy agreement to monitor and bulk communicate, as we saw on our landing page. Rent reviews are also available here to add. You have the option of adding fixed, increased, or percentage. CPI increases are also being built and will be available on this list in the near future. You can also select to have rent reviews auto-updated with recurring rent invoices. Tenant compliance is based on the tenant lease terms and not to be confused with the owner compliance currently available. Compliance details can be added here and then seen in the commercial landing page. You also have the option to transfer deposit to invoice. Bond information can be reported on how it's held in tenancies. From here, you can generate a bond listing report, which is available in PDF or CSV in case you'd like to reformat it in a way that suits your office. You can also see a list of all invoices for the tenancy. Invoices can be receipted against within the receipt screen, where you can receipt to any invoice, old or new, so receipted funds aren't automatically allocated to the oldest invoice in full. Buildings gives you the ability to group properties based on ownership. Essentially, through creating a common property and adding the owners and agreement details, the system will then look for any other properties attached to that ownership to then be grouped into that building. Buildings are also currently being further developed to enhance the capabilities. In the future, buildings will have the ability to list the attributes within the building view. Here, you can see the liability percentage for each tenancy based on the lease requirements. This is largely going to be the percentages added that are given to you by the owner's auditor in order to determine outgoings recoverable. It will also provide you with the ability to on-charge a bill at not only a one-to-one level, but to also amortize it against all tenancies within the building, based on using those percentages to average out the expense. Within the owner agreement, you have the ability to select if the owner is registered for GST. You can also generate a BAS statement from the report section, which can then be reported by date range per property on a cash basis.